Hello, it's Grandma. Are you ready for Grandma's story time? I've got my story bag here. Remember, it's my bag with purple circles and golden elephants and blue circles and golden elephants and red circles. And it's the home for Peter. Come out, Peter. You're happy to be back? Oh, you've been thinking about the toys. Yes, let's get the book out. It's The Wishing Chair Again by Enid Blyton. What chapter are we up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're up to chapter 10. Oh, Peter wants me to read it straight away. Go back in your bag, Peter. He said he wants to find out what happened to the toys and Chinky's wand. Is that right? Oh, you've been thinking about that. I have too. Let's find out. Go back in your bag. The Wishing Chair Again. Put on your glasses, Grandma. You nearly forgot. And I'll turn to chapter 10. Chapter 10 is called Off to Find the Toys. Chinky was gloomy and cross that evening. The children were sad and felt ashamed they had gone quite so mad with that growing ointment. They felt very guilty indeed about Chinky's wand. Will you come and tell us if the wishing chair grows its wings tonight, Chinky? Asked Molly when it was their time to go back to the house.
I might,
said Chinky gruffly.
and I might not. I might go off by myself in it.
Oh no, don't do that, begged Molly. That would be horrid of you, dear Chinky. Please be nice and forgive us for losing your wand.
All right,
said Chinky, cheering up a little. I do feel very upset about losing my doll Rosebud, you know, went on poor Molly. I feel just as upset about her as you feel about your wand. And I'm miserable about my engine, said Peter. It was the finest one I've ever had.
well, we'll hope the wishing chair grows its wings tonight then, and we can go and fetch everything,
said Chinky.
I'll come and tap on your window if it grows wings.
But Chinky didn't tap on their window at all. The chair didn't grow any wings in the night. Molly sighed. Just when we so badly wanted it to fly, it won't grow its wings. Now today we've got to behave nicely and be on our best behaviour because Mother has visitors. Perhaps we shan't be able to go down to the playroom at all. At 11 o'clock, when the visitors had arrived and Mother was giving them coffee and the children were handing around plates of biscuits and buns, Chinky appeared at the window. He was horrified when he saw so many people there, and he disappeared at once. The children caught sight of him. They looked at one another in despair. Now what were they going to do? There was only one thing. They must do something to make Mother send them out of the room. So Molly suddenly spilt a plate of biscuits all over the floor, and Peter spilt a cup of coffee. Mother looked very vexed. Oh dear, how clumsy of you, she said. Go and ask James if she will please bring a cloth, Molly. And I think you and Peter had better go now. I don't want anything else spilt. Sorry, Mother, said Peter. They shot out of the room. Molly called to Jane to take a cloth to wipe up the coffee, and then both the children raced down to the playroom. I hope Chinky hasn't gone off in the chair by himself yet, panted Peter. If he saw us with all those visitors, he might think that we couldn't possibly come, and then he'd fly off alone. They got to the playroom door just as Chinky was flying out in the wishing chair. They bumped into one another, and Peter caught hold of one of the chair's legs. "Just in time! Help us up, Chinky!" Chinky pulled them up with him, and the chair flapped its green and yellow wings and flew strongly up into the air.
"I was afraid you wouldn't be able to come,"
said Chinky.
"I was just setting off by myself. The chair had only grown its wings for a few minutes before I peeked in at the window."
"What fine strong wings it has now," said Peter. "They make quite a draft round my legs. It must be able to fly faster now." "Where are we going?" asked Molly.
"I don't know,"
said Chinky.
"I just said to the chair, 'Go and find my wand and Rosebud and the toys.' And it seemed to know what I meant, because it rose up at once. I have no idea where we shall land. I only hope it's somewhere nice. It would be awful to go to the village of Slipperies or to the land of rubbish or somewhere like that."
"Oh dear, I hope it goes somewhere nice too," said Molly. "The chair is flying very high, isn't it?" "Do you think it might be going to Toyland?" asked Peter. "I wouldn't mind that at all. After all, most of the things were toys. I think it's very likely that they went there."
"It certainly seems like the way to Toyland as far as I remember,"
said Chinky, peering down.
"I know we pass over the village of Gollywogs before we reach Toyland, and we're very near that now. There's Toyland, far over there. That must be where we're going."
But it wasn't. The chair suddenly began to fly down, and at a great rate, and it was plain that it was going to land.
"Well, this isn't Toyland,"
said Chinky in surprise.
"Good gracious! I do believe it's a school run by Mr. Grimm for bad brownies. Surely the toys haven't gone there."
The chair landed in the grounds of a big house, just near a wall. Chinky and the children got off. They pushed the chair under a bush to hide it, and then they looked around cautiously. From the big building in the distance, there came a chanting noise. The children and Chinky listened.
"I mustn't scream or whistle or shout, because Mr. Grimm is always about. I mustn't stamp or slam the door, or jump or slide on the schoolroom floor. I mustn't be greedy, untidy or lazy, because Mr. Grimm would be driven quite crazy. I mustn't be slow, I must be quick, because Mr. Grimm has a very big stick."
said Molly. "I don't like the sound of that. That must be the poor brownies learning verses from Mr. Grimm."
"Yes,"
said Chinky.
"I do wish we hadn't come here. I've half a mind to get on the wishing chair and go off again. I've always been told that Mr. Grimm is a very hard master. We don't want to be caught by him."
"Caught?" said Peter. "But we're two children and a pixie. We're not brownies. This is a school for brownies."
"I know,"
said Chinky.
"I just don't like the feel of this place, that's all. If you think it's all right, we'll stay and we'll see if our toys could possibly be here."
"I think we'd better," said Peter. "Well, what's the first thing to do?" "Listen. Is that the brownies coming out to play?" said Molly, as a perfect babble of noise reached them. Then came the sound of feet running, and in a trice about 50 small brownies surrounded them. They all looked merry and mischievous little fellows, too young to have grown their brownie beards yet.
"Who are you? Are you new pupils for this awful school?"
asked a small brownie, pushing himself forward.
"My name's Winks. What's yours?"
All the little brownies crowded around, listening eagerly. Chinky pushed them back.
"Don't crowd so. No, we haven't come to your school. We came because we're looking for things we lost, and we think they may be somewhere here. My name's Chinky, and these are real children, Peter and Molly." "Well, be careful Mr. Grimm doesn't see you,"
said Winks.
"He's very bad-tempered these days, worse than he's ever been."
"Why?" asked Peter.
"Because we found the cupboard where he kept his canes, and we broke the whole lot,
chuckled Brownie.
every one of them."
"Can't he slap you or smack you, though?" said Peter.
"Oh yes, but we dodge.
Said Winks.
Can't dodge a cane very well, though, I say. Do be careful he doesn't catch you." "What are you looking for?"
asked another brownie.
"I'm Ho-Ho. You can trust me." "Well,"
said Chinky.
"we came here looking for a lot of flying toys, and my new wand. It had wings too." "Flying toys!"
said Winks.
"And a flying wand! Well, have we seen anything like that, boys?" "Yes!"
shouted Ho-Ho at once.
"Don't you remember? Yesterday evening we saw something very peculiar. We thought they were curious birds flying about in the air. They must have been your toys."
"What happened to them?" asked Peter.
"Well, old Groom was out in the garden smoking his evening pipe,
said Ho-Ho.
and he suddenly looked up and he saw them too. He was very excited and he called out words that we couldn't hear. And what we thought were peculiar birds came straight down to him. But they must have been your toys on the way to Toyland. He caught sight of them and he made them come to him. Well, whatever can he do with them?"
said Ho-Ho.
"We are never allowed any toys at all. I suppose he will sell them to his friend, Magician Slyboots."
"Oh dear," said Molly. "We must try and get them before he does. Will you show us where you think Mr. Grimm might have hidden our toys?"
"Yes, we'll show you,"
shouted the brownies.
"but do be careful you're not caught."
They took Chinky and the children to the big building, all walking on tiptoe and shushing each other. Ho-Ho led them inside. He pointed to a winding stair.
"Go up there,"
he whispered.
"You'll come to a little landing. On the left side there is a door. That's the storeroom, where I expect Mr. Grimm has put the toys. Creep in. See if you can find them,"
said Winks.
"Come on,"
said Chinky to the others.
"It's now or never. If we find our things, we'll take them and rush down and out into the garden and be off in the wishing chair before Mr. Grimm even knows we're here."
"Shh," said Molly, and they all began to go up the stairs on tiptoe. Shh. That's the end of the chapter. Shh. You'll have to come back tomorrow. I wonder if the toys will be in the cupboard. Oh, I'm talking shush. Come back tomorrow and we'll see if the toys are in the cupboard. Bye-bye.